Hello, everybody. Welcome to our studio. This is our third live. So today we're going to talk about how to behave at conferences. But basically not only how to behave, but more how to make most out of your investment into any conference. Okay, let me start this live with Diane Helbig's quote that says, "Networking is an investment in your business. It takes time, and when done correctly, can yield great results for years to come." I'm sure that many of you who've attended conferences have experienced this directly. Okay, in this live, we're gonna use an example, so a fictitious, let's say, commercial for a language conference called Meet LIA in Germany, titled "How Can AI Help You Sell More Translation Services?" Okay, now you see the prices here, the fee, sponsorship is possible. There will be 2 days of intensive networking, and it looks very interesting. It sounds appealing. It seems to be, a worthwhile investment. But we'll go through the entire process to see, how it really pays off, to have some argumentation for this. So first of all, we're going to deal with how to decide whether to go there. Maybe you learn some new concepts such as opportunity costs, what to do exactly before the conference, how to behave during the conference, what activities you might take when you come back home, and just a few words about our upcoming workshop that's called Fortify Your Marketing. You see, I also have some problems pronouncing the name, but it means to fortify, to make your marketing much stabler. Okay, who am I to talk about this topic? My name is Zoran Metikos, and I work at Perfecta BDI. My job purpose here is to be a business and personal progress strategist. We used to call it the job function when it was like consultant, mentor, coach, whatever you name it. But the purpose was not the same. You could not feel the purpose. Once you change the perspective, of the job function, you might see the differences. Okay, I started my career as a language teacher. But you can see here in this slide that I've been, in many functions, also managing director and business developer. And by education, I'm a linguist, executive MBA, and professional coach. And before we jump onto our decision making, let me give you some tips. Okay, in the chat box you can ask any question, of course, and share your ideas and opinions, whatever you wish, with us. And of course you can use emoticons for the non-verbal communication. We'll see later on why it's even more important than the verbal communication. Okay, before we go through the decision-making process, the calculation for this, first of all, you might ask yourselves, what you really want from this conference. What do you want to achieve with this conference? Why is it important to you after all? How will you achieve it? This is the so-called rapid planning method, to ask these 3 crucial questions. But also, you might ask yourself, what do others want? The participants and the speakers, who exactly is coming? What exactly do they do? What are their industries and their job functions or job purposes? How exactly can you help them and how they can help you? Okay, after let's say a little research, you are ready to go. Okay, let's see. Ready to calculate, whether to go. For this purpose, we made a fictitious example, for example, of an LSP manager from Spain who is thinking about attending the conference. So what might be taken into calculation? What costs are there? What is, let's say, a potential revenue? What are the benefits of this conference? And we've introduced some new aspects, in decision making. It's the opportunity costs and also the soft aspects. Okay, as regards some, let's say, actual costs, the real ones that you can really know in advance are, let's say, the fee that you pay, accommodation, transportation, daily allowance, sponsorship, costs of printing your company promotional materials, let's say the dinner and other costs. But here we also included the opportunity costs. And you can see that the total is 3,863 euros. So let's say around 4,000 euros or should be the cost. Later on, I will explain opportunity cost concept in detail. And on the right-hand side, you see the opportunity revenues, the benefits of the conference. And here on the bottom, you see the soft aspects, that you also might include, so that we don't forget, for example, the energy and time that we invest. If you're going to come back filled up with energy or totally drained and tired and not able, to work on our billable activities for 1 week. Okay, so we can see that the difference here is 10,000, so it looks good. Here is 10. Okay, it's not 10 out of 20, so it seems to be good, But let's see the opportunity cost, the new concept that helps you make more informed decision. What is an opportunity cost? It's basically something that you give up because of another alternative. So as per definition here is the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. So in this case, if you decide to go to the conference, you're going to give up on potential 1,000 euros that you might have earned if you stayed at home. Okay. And we can also use it for the soft aspects. We can have opportunity energy drain and opportunity time wasted. So we'll include also time and energy in this, not only the money. When we talk about opportunity revenues, what you might get, what you might benefit from this conference, we can see, okay, maybe you can learn something new, you will get some knowledge that will help you earn 2,000 euros, or you will, I don't know, hear some useful information that will help you earn 1,000, meet a potential client, and 5,000 euros in 1 year or whatever period you take into calculation. Maybe find a potential supplier for another language combination. You can meet existing clients in the conference venue and negotiate some other services for them. And your, let's say, sponsorship might pay off if you opt for it, and it might bring you 2,500. So you see, for example, that opportunity revenues are 14,000 euros. So basically, if you subtract them from the costs, potential gain seems good. And if you take a look at the soft aspects, that this conference might be an energy booster. You will be even more productive because you will come back home, energetic, vibrant. Okay, I want to do so many things now. I've heard so many things. I'm so inspired. I want to try this, try that, and the time was great, for example, with the people you met there. You saw some old friends and stuff like that. So it really gave you, I don't know, a big boost when you come back home. So you can give, for example, let's say some rates from 1 to 10 in this case. So these are, let's say, some calculations that might help you make the decision. So of course, this is not the only way, only proper way to do a decision. You can always decide based on your feelings, if you just feel like going there or not, or maybe because some of your friends are coming, or the speaker is fantastic, want to meet them in person. Maybe this investment may mean much more to you. Okay, and the soft aspects are something, let's say, that people not normally use in their decision-making process. So we wanted you to bring your attention to this, to see how you can save or gain energy and time. But this is what I already somehow explained with opportunity costs and opportunity revenues. Okay, now that you've, let's say, potentially made a decision, you're going there, what should you bring with you? First of all, think about your marketing materials. If you have your brochure or one pager or a business card and LinkedIn QR ready, and you know where to use it, where it is, and how to use it, and your attire. Attire is basically one of the most important things, even though some people might say, no, it's not. Now we're all casual, but yeah, it's somehow we are what we wear. Because our outfit basically can affect our mindset, the way we communicate, the way we behave. Our self-confidence, as well as our mind can affect our outfit. So these processes are connected. It's also, for example, like your body posture. For example, if you're sitting straight or something, this can affect your self-confidence. You feel much more elevated. And of course, if you think that you're not self-confident, you can feel like, I don't know, I'm so tired, I cannot sit straight. Okay. Then to better prepare for the conference, apart from all the marketing stuff and your outfit, I like to suggest to create a conference avatar. It means to prepare, let's say, your conference goer or visitor identity. What things you have to take into consideration that you maybe don't do normally at home. And these are the following aspects. When meeting people, of course, first of all, the handshake, then the rapport, how to establish this deeper connection, the etiquette, your nonverbal communication, your intercultural, let's say, aspects relevant for business, and diversity and identity issues that nowadays differ a lot from country to country and from culture to culture. Okay, so first of all, the handshake. This is somehow the first thing when we meet somebody in a conference or any other event. It somehow gives the first impression of your credibility, especially if in Europe and United States. And somewhere the handshake has to be really firm, and you have to look into another person's eyes. So it's the culture in these two continents more or less similar, where somehow this the so-called dead fish handshake is not really desired, because somehow it can give the impression that you are not trustworthy or a credible partner to someone. But on the other hand, in Turkey and Arabic-speaking Middle East countries, softer handshake is preferred. In Japan and some Asian countries, it's normal, to take a bow, but now they also adapt to, let's say, European or American way of doing business. So it depends. But if you travel there, just make sure you check, how they do handshakes, or when you see on the list, the countries, just make sure that you don't make some faux pas or some other bloopers or whatever might happen there. Okay, the second thing is rapport. Rapport is a conversation, or let's say a communication opener. It's like this deeper connection with somebody, then who is more open for information exchange. So ready to communicate with you. How do we basically do it? The first thing is, let's say, smiling. So if you're, I don't know, some smiling person, radiant personality, people will be more open, but this can also differ from culture to culture, for example, in the United States, people are used to smiling, whereas in Eastern European countries, it's not that common. For example, me personally, I was not a smiling person. I'm somehow still learning, to smile more. Then, of course, asking WH questions, not yes/no questions where you close the conversation. If somebody, are you this or that, or are you from here or not? It's somehow if somebody gives you yes or no, then it's hard to continue the conversation. So you might think of asking where are you from, or how come you decided to visit this conference, etc. The next thing is to pay a compliment. But here we should also be very cautious, because sometimes compliment may be perceived or interpreted as flattering, and flattering is rather, let's say, not really desired trait. It can be also considered rude in many cultures. So if you are already paying a compliment, make sure it's about something that you really like. I don't know, a dress or a computer or something about that person. Active listening is crucial for rapport, because people can feel it. Even you, for example, if you apply this so-called cosmetic listening, that you're just pretending to listen, or conversational listening, where you just basically listen to give an answer, you don't care much about the other person, they can feel it. And active listening is crucial, because then this rapport gets much deeper. And you can achieve it, for example, if you imagine that this person and you are the only person in the world that survived, something like this, and that this person has to tell you something important, so that you can continue to live together in this world. So if you switch with this exercise to that mindset, you will be more focused, because it's not easy really to listen to somebody for 5 minutes without judgment or saying something. And of course, the jokes help us a lot. But here also think about the boundaries. Some jokes can be really rude in certain cultures, or if you're joking too much, you might be perceived as a court jester, which is also not good. So bounds and boundaries, like in any other aspect in life. And of course, etiquette is important. First of all, to introduce yourself to everyone. This is applicable in every culture, to say please and thank you often, to greet everybody you see, not to look down when you see somebody, for example, or pretending not to see somebody. Why not greet? Then sitting straight at the table, because it shows that you are, let's say, more credible and confident. That you say enjoy your meal every time you eat can hurt in any culture. That you don't eat and talk at the same time, because nobody will understand you. To drink as little alcohol as possible. This is highly advisable, because when drink too much, you might say things that you didn't mean, and then it can make some people resentful. And anyhow, it's not good in conferences. I suggest refraining from alcohol when you're there, and respecting the personal space. So here, what can help you is the arm's length rule. So in many cultures, people don't like to stand too close to each other. They feel uncomfortable. So just imagine, the arm of your length, and this is kind of a safe distance. And of course, put away your phone when you are around people. Okay. Then to equip your avatar, your identity better, it's important to pay attention to your nonverbal communication. Why? Because it makes up 93% of your communication, especially when you meet somebody for the first time. This is the so-called Professor Mehrabi's rule. Only basically 7% of our spoken words matter. So you better watch out. Your reactions. And why else is it? Why is it so? Because only 5% of our conscious brain communicates with 5% of another person's brain. So 95% of communication is done subconsciously. So people observe whether they want it or not, your facial skin glow, how it changes. They're going to trust you. Your eye position. how you breathe, do you seem to be, I don't know, excited or not, or maybe they might think that you're lying if your breath is longer. Your posture, if you're self-confidence, if you believe in yourself and in your job. So if you don't believe in your job, then why should they? Your body movements, etc. So these are all important things. And it's also important to include this intercultural knowledge. Of course, you cannot know a lot about every country, what their specifics are. But for example, in Hofstede's website, Hofstede Insights, and his book Software of the Mind, which is very practical for understanding different cultures, you can quickly check, how people treat certain cultural aspects, especially if it's related to business. The power distance, means whether they like bosses or not. Individualism, how they treat this collective and individual spirit. Masculinity. It's not only masculinity in terms of masculine and feminine role, but also like masculine culture that basically focuses more on competition, or feminine culture in terms of, let's say, involving emotions in business and decision making. How they treat uncertainty and risks, how they perceive business and life in terms of, let's say, long-term planning or not, if they're just short-term planners, and how they enjoy everyday, life. Do they like to, let's say, apply Dolce Vita principle, or go with the flow, or they plan their lives? They're more reserved. So these are all the wonderful things that you can find out here and prepare better. Okay, and what happens often is also that you meet people from different religions, nationalities, different races, people with disabilities, with various gender identities and strong political beliefs. Sometimes, it can happen that, maybe in your country you don't see, I don't know, married women or married men together at a conference, or people with disabilities in different roles. Or let's say people with strong political beliefs that like to discuss, what happened, I don't know, like European Union, USA relationships, wars, or whatever. It's better to refrain from these topics because you never know who you might insult with your opinion. So, and you don't need this. So basically, these questions, can be, and topics can be really skipped and leave it for your bar debate, when you come back home. Okay, so your avatar is created, and now you're happy at the conference, successful in establishing new contacts and relationships. And then it's important, to note down all the information, because you meet so many people, you forget things. So it's quite practical maybe to use voice memos on your phone or an app. There are many apps nowadays that can help you, to quickly jot down who you talk to, what was the topic, what they really need, what's important to them, and why. This is important question. And when you can contact them, and some other relevant details for your business. Okay, and you have the information noted down, collected, what's really useful to you, and you come back home and you do a follow-up. Okay, as soon as possible, while you're still fresh in people's memories. You can send always a follow-up email, or a text message, whatever that person basically finds most practical or is used to. And also, we advise also you to show respect to people who send you a follow-up. Okay, so you reply, don't ghost them, like it's now popularly said, and show your respect, reply, just because, it's not good to do things to others that we don't want others to do to us. The Confucius is saying, don't do unto others what you don't want done unto you. Okay, So this was the follow-up, and you can also be a good fairy or an angel for all your other friends on social networks. You can sum up your key takeaways and publish them on LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you like, about where you were, which conference you attended, what crucial things you learned, what might be useful for them, who you want to greet and thank, so that, for example, they didn't have to make the investment like you, so you're sharing the valuable information with them, of course. And it's always good to tag the conference page to show gratitude, because it's always hard work after each conference. Those people who work on it, it's really pure organizational work, night and day, especially before the conference. Okay. Now, after all this, let's say, presentation about conferences, how to behave, basically how to make most of them, how to be also self-confident and more decisive, and making most of your networking and relationship building. We always know that, like everything in life, each conference has its pluses and minuses. It's important not to regret the decision that you were there, because every travel somehow opens up new ways, opens new perspectives. Even if you don't make those opportunity revenues or turn them into real revenues in the end, you probably learned, you become a better, a stronger person for your business in future. And just a few words about our Fortify Your Marketing workshop. So it's an amazing workshop, not just because it's ours, but I think it's really great, and some participants really loved it and profited from it already. It's going to take place on October 2nd, 9th, and 16th. And here you will get some deeper insights into marketing psychology, marketing approaches for your social networks and website, something that you can do by yourselves. And also, if you're working in an agency, how you can contribute to that work, how to basically better set your business and marketing goals, and how exactly to achieve them using all the frameworks that you will get there. And we have a special candy for all attendees. So instead of 650 euros, you will pay only 580 if you use the code FYMKTG in our registration form. Okay, but my colleagues probably put it on the link in the chat. So please, you can visit it and learn more about it. And now I will give my comments or answer your questions. Now that I stop presenting, of course, because it's hard to focus on questions and present. Okay. That would be it. I hope you really enjoyed this live, that you've learned something new, got some takeaways that will improve your communication and your business. Thank you very much.